Well, hello there. I didn't see you there. I was just playing this super rad tone. When tones make you laugh, that's when you know they're really good. It's the 65 Vibrolux NB3. And on Goldie here, it's just a beautiful, beautiful sound. Now, I'm not doing a ton effects-wise, except you do hear a fair amount of spring verb. So I'm actually going to pull that down a little bit. Just to give us a little more of the tone of the amp and a little less of that in-your-face verby feel, you know? Beautiful, beautiful stuff. I love it. That's the in-between. The other one sounds like this. Beautiful, beautiful sound. Goldie, do you ever sound bad? I don't think so. Anyway, today we're going to talk about how to augment, how to change the feel of your Kemper. Now, me personally, I will tell you that kind of nothing feels like a tube amp, even other tube amps, because they all have kind of different feel. You know, there's amount of compression and sag, and sometimes EQ makes you feel like things are feeling a certain way, you know? If something is very bright, sometimes you even perceive it as a little more sensitive because you can clean it up and you can get this little... And just using your pick and your fingers can give you the sensation that you have a lot more sort of dynamics than maybe you actually do. I don't know, that's just my opinion. That's something I've noticed. But we have some really, really powerful controls in the Kemper that are just stellar. In fact, to me, they're the best out there by far. But before we get there, I want to talk about this compressor that I put in the front. I always put a compressor in the front. And I could take it off, and it doesn't sound totally different. Turn that compressor on. You hear like kind of an EQ shift, right? Do you hear that? Do you hear that sort of increased bass that comes in? Listen to this. You add that compressor. It actually makes me sound like I'm a better player, right, with that on, because especially when I get to this little part here, like, you know, you do the front part and it sounds beautiful. But when you really push, that compressor kicks in. And that is the difference there. And that feel, that's where I feel the squishiness. I feel like I can push in on it and it pushes back on me. I feel like I push in on the Kemper and it feels like a pillow absorbing my dynamic kind of thing, which is a weird way to put it because it actually feels very dynamic, but that's what I want. I want to feel like I can jump in there and it gets nice and squishy and plush. That doesn't feel squishy and plush. But I turn this on. And just, it feels like it brings those bass notes up because they're quieter, so it's pulling them up a bit. And it leaves my dynamics in a nice little range that I really like. That's one really killer way to improve the feel of your Kemper. To me, I on all modelers, on all rigs, I like to have a little compression up front for my guitar. I think it's beautiful, and I think it really adds to the tone of a great guitar, especially something like Goldie, where there's a lot of like high end and low end. There's a lot of just stuff going on, a lot of complexity. Come over here though, and I have maybe the greatest control ever of all time. It's the definition control. Here I'm sitting at 2.2. So there's plenty of old school looser bass. I'm gonna tighten it up. I'm gonna make it more defined by bringing it up to 6. And now let's hear that. To me, that changes the feel, but really it's more changing the EQ. I still feel the squishiness, but like I was mentioning earlier, changes in EQ can kind of make it feel a little different. When there's more bass, I feel that the bass is being lifted up, right? When it's less high-endy, I feel the absorption of that high end. It feels like the same amount of compression to me, but it just feels more squishy when it's a little warmer. That's just my take. I don't know. I think the squishiness goes along with a nice low end. That very staccato attack too just gets like eaten up by that compressor. The one really great control here is an actual compression control in the Kemper, in the amp section. This is one of my favorites. Crank this thing up. Crank it up, and now play the guitar. And oh, Uncle Willie, that's some tone. I missed the bar there. You saw it. I saw it. We all saw it. When you turn that compressor in the amp section up, it now takes on this feeling like the notes are just sort of like, oh, like they're rising up, like they jump. They really get sticky and like jumpy, like Mexican jumping beans just jumping off the fretboard. The amount of squish there is incredible. That's you hear that country stuff because it's all squishy like that. Very addicting to play, and that's like the only kind of country-ish look I really know. But yeah, I hear that sound living in Nashville. I hear that sound around a lot, and it's the compressor is what makes it. You know, I'm on the bridge of this Strat, and it's the compressor. I come up here, and I still got it, but it's a little less of that. It's actually funny. It's so compressed, so like squishy. I'm like, you feel the note like really pushing and pulling. It's funny. I was like falling out of time here, and just like, I don't know, leaning into it too. That was weird. I was like missing notes, but it was because I was focused on the note, like kind of a weird sensation. But if you're playing, you know, I mean, you can hear the squish in there. The other one I've got is power sagging. Okay, I'm going to take this compressor down, and this is going to add to the sag that I feel on the notes. And so with more kind of gain, you're going to feel this more. So here it is with no sag. Now with a ton of sag. And I might need a little more gain for that. No sag. Lot of sag. You know what it reminds me of? My old orange AD30. Saggiest stamp I ever had. I mean, saggier than a pair of pants on Bag and Sag and Berry's segment of All That. You know, if you know, you know. I mean, that thing, I was going to describe the pants for a minute. The amp was just, at one point I took out the tube rectifier where all that sag is, and I put in a solid state one. And dude, it was crazy, crazy tight after that. But before that, super saggy. These three controls here are really the most powerful, if you ask me. You could put some compression in the back. That will change the feel a lot. I personally don't think the Kemper needs it, but it's a cool thing if you enjoy it. Whereas like on the Helix, I think it really benefits from that, from adding some compression in the back. Also some compression in the front, but whatever. But that's because we don't have these controls. We have a sag control, but this Kemper sag control is actually truly, truly next level. And you add in some compression, and oh my gosh, you just get this, you kind of get this ridiculous sag feel, this compressed sag feel that you wouldn't normally get in real life, and that's okay. I'm going to play a little clean, and then I'll jump to some other pickups. But I've been HW. Thanks so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. This has been a lesson in sag, in compression, in feel, in tone, baby. It's a lesson in tone. hear what it does for all that sustain? It's because that compressor isn't just for the squishy feel. It picks up the low end of the signal, not the low end of the frequencies, but the bottom, the quietness of the signal picks it up.